Hey guys, just working on a little project here. I'm building an adapter plate for my shredder. This is what I'm going to be using to make all that mulch for my garden this year. It'll be actually next year's garden, but I'm setting it up so that my lawnmower's bag can actually fit onto the shredder like so. And then I'll just be able to grab it, boom, and immediately dump it, because the bag that came with this shredder is a major pain. And then when you disconnect it, you get a face full of shreds, unless you shut it off. And then sometimes, I mean, it was a free shredder, but sometimes when it's hot, it's a little bit more difficult to start. Although when it's cold, it starts every single time. But so that's what I'm up to right now. We're getting the first rain of the summer, or the late summer, and it's an indication that the summer is on its way out. You can see the squash is really taken off over there. See it like right there. When the sun gets a little bit less intense in the fall, these things really take off. And I believe it's because they're adapted, or they were originally evolved or created, depending on your point of view, that to be an understory plant below trees and below, like in that broken shade. That's why they have those giant solar panel looking leaves. But it's as soon as the weather turned cooler, they turned a lot darker and more rich, and they're really kicking out the squash too. Tomatoes are doing pretty good too. So, good times. I noticed that when this deck didn't have this paint on it, when it got wet, it was like really slippery. But now, man, no chance of slipping at all. This is just absolutely awesome. A major improvement. Very happy. Had an interesting thing occur on YouTube. I think it was yesterday. You guys probably know me. I tend to go around YouTube. Maybe it's not very nice, but I go around YouTube and look at videos that are that sometimes aren't really that related to MGTOW, and most recently, and then I drop MGTOW comments, right? Sort of to spread the message both to men and women. And the reason why I share that message with women is because there's probably a lot of nice women out there, and they might actually have been, a decent wife and all that at one time, but basically they're probably clueless. A lot of them are clueless as to really why the marriage strike is occurring, and why is this happening to me? Why am I 30 with 3 cats and no husband? Well, so that's part of the reason why I leave those comments, to sort of educate. And I would hate to see a lot of these people go to their graves wondering why they never got married, and why didn't anybody ever love me and stuff. I mean, I think it's important for them to know why. So I dropped a few of those comments talking about how I could have been a good husband, and how in a different situation I would have loved to have been married and stuff like that, and it's true. And then of course I had had a couple of people jump in saying, "Oh, you're just ugly and stupid or something, and you can't get a wife." And of course then I was able to trounce them fairly easily. Then I had a feminist jump in there saying, "Oh, that's just as well, because men always kill women in marriage, and she blathered on about how she made this weird comparison between married people, or she said that more people died in more women died killed by their husbands than soldiers died in Iraq, which is bullshit. And I dug up some stats, and I was actually kind of proud of myself, because my strength does not lie in the written word. I am not that literate. Part of it might be because I had an injury into my skull, my brain, when I was a kid, but that basically really impaired my literacy. It slowed my progress down pretty dramatically. But it didn't interfere with my mechanical talent, and that's how thank goodness, because that's how I earn my money. But that is not my strong point. So I was actually pretty proud that I was able to dig up FBI statistics for 1995 and just basically just slam her argument and show and reveal her argument and her accusation of male killing women all the time to be absolute fabrication and bullshit. And she didn't come back with a response. I'll leave the link in the description box, just because I found it so amusing. And of course, a couple of my YouTube friends jumped in there and helped out a little bit. That was nice. So that's about all that's going on. This is my weekend. This is Saturday for me, and oh my goodness, do I love the weekend. But one of the things you should probably keep in mind is that our summer is rapidly over. August is almost finished, and September is here, or almost here. So the time when all that hot weather and all that is, in anything you want to plan for, such as buying winter clothes and checking or planning for opportunities that the winter will bring, now is the time to do it. And I'm basically going to shred up a lot of mulch that my neighbors gave me. They took down a couple of trees, or topped them. And right over there underneath my other tree, which you can't see very well, I got a big huge pile of pine mulch. And I would prefer broadleaf, of course. It's better. But little twigs and whatnot aren't all that acidic. I think that it's just a exaggeration how acidic pine needles are supposed to be, and they break down very well. So I'm going to use that to extend my garden along this fence, and extend it underneath where I trimmed that tree down a little bit, and that will be good. And then I'll have, that's just the beginning. I'll be able to add a lot of garden space through the winter. Well, the Seattle area is kind of nice. We've got pretty mild winters, and so basically you can actually do a lot of gardening in the winter here. My potato planter has died down, which is an indication that they have set their potatoes and they're done. I did a little digging and found a couple of potatoes underneath all that sawdust. So I'll be able to roll those out of there and see what my productivity is. And that took probably a total of maybe 2 hours, because the whole thing was all there. And all I did was just hoe up the ground a little bit. This was right at but anyway, I just hoed up the ground a little bit, threw some seed potatoes in, and as soon as they popped up, threw a little bit of mulch over them, and then as they popped up, I kept adding more and more, and basically, maybe I spent 2 hours on this project. so I'll be able to see what kind of yield I have from my 2 hours work. Potatoes are pretty cheap though, so it won't make economic sense, except for the fact that they're not toxic. They don't have that non-sprouting hormone, which is a carcinogen that potatoes are sprayed with, and even organic potatoes seem to have a reluctance to sprout. So who knows what they're putting on those things. So that's about all I got right now. I thought it was a lot of fun slamming the shit out of that wannabe feminist. Good times. Well, I'm going to continue with my project and upload this thing later on. Later.